everybody, welcome back. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Wait. There we go, that's the rhythm now, of course. Hopefully you guys are okay. I am trying to get back into the swing of recording videos. I feel like for the past, I think I said this in Monday's video, for the past couple of days, actually today is going to be Monday's video because we played tonight, so it makes sense. And Wednesday I'll put out the video that I've not long recorded yesterday. So this will be the first time you're hearing it. Obviously in my ramble on Wednesday you'll hear it as well. But I feel like for the past maybe month or so I've been a little bit distracted from recording videos. Now that's due to a number of reasons. Number one, work is very busy at the minute. It's taken a lot out of me. Number two, the dogs. As you guys well know, I've got a second dog now, another puppy, who's actually asleep downstairs at the moment. I put him downstairs about half an hour ago, and he should be asleep by now. And obviously having a puppy, having Ziggy straight away was pretty manic. Luckily, I don't think it's been as bad as getting just the first dog. However, Ziggy, he was asleep on the beanbag down here. He's now right behind the chair. I think he's gone and laid on the floor. It's a little bit cooler for him. That on top of the fact I've been on 2 holidays this month. I went to Bognor Regis and then I went to Brighton. So, again, I just needed to take that sort of break. But I still wanted to keep up on video, so I'm pretty sure you guys will have known that it's just been a little bit of a mess recently. That and the fact that I'm not doing FIFA anymore. I've fully decided just knock it on its head. I don't want to play FIFA anymore. If I ever want to play it, I'll just play it on my own. I doubt I'm going to record anything else this year. For those guys that are asking for it back, I don't think it's coming back. I am just getting back into just playing games that I like to play. It was becoming a bit of a chore, if I'm honest. And you guys will have seen that. It was becoming a bit of an effort, and I was only playing the menus anyway. What's the point? Anyway, that gets us on to today's topic. Let's take it back to the footballing roots of the channel. Me being a Chelsea supporter, coming up to the end of the season, it would be unwise for me not to mention Chelsea. Now, Chelsea theoretically have two games in hand over similar position teams. There isn't another team in the league that have only played 30 games. Everton have played 31. We're playing Everton tonight. Everyone else has played 32 or 33, so we have at least 2 games on other teams around us. We are on 44 points. West Ham are on 48. Man United 50. Newcastle 50. Tottenham 60. I don't think 60 is achievable. It just isn't. There is 8 games left for Chelsea, as well as 5 or 6 games left for other teams. Chelsea have got to play Everton today, Man City in the semi-final of the FA Cup on Saturday, Arsenal, Aston Villa, Tottenham, then West Ham, Forest, Brighton, Bournemouth. Now the last 4 games, I believe we should get at least 9 points from. We should be beating Forest. We should be beating West Ham at the minute. Brighton's tough and Bournemouth are tough, but I think we could win one of them. Now, the reason it's important is because Brighton and West Ham are the 2 teams either side of us. And it's towards the end of the season, regardless, it's so important to beat people that are around your position, just to pump it up a bit. Because not only is it's a 6 points, basically, you're not just putting 3 points on you, you're knocking 3 points off them. Forest, not so much. Everton, not so much. But Bournemouth, Brighton, West Ham. Again, Villa, Arsenal, Tottenham, I think I said. Anyway. Anyway. So we need to be getting points from them. If we beat Everton tonight, we go up to 47, which is 1 point behind West Ham. We'll have only played 31 games. Say, for instance, we win them 3 games, or the next 3 games. That puts us on a 53 points, which puts us above Newcastle. Somehow it puts us above Newcastle into 6th. I'm not holding out for that. That's not what I'm doing. I want us to win 2. That will put us on 50 points, equal to Man United and Newcastle. However, we have a better goal difference than Man United. Nowhere near the goal difference of Newcastle, so that will put us in between 6th and 7th. So I'm holding out for it. Okay, I'm holding out for it. It's not going to be easy. I want a good run towards the end of the season. That and the FA Cup is going to be a little bit hit-woody-piggledy. Anyway, Chelsea this season. People are still slowing us. People are still saying it's been a horrible season. It has been a horrible season. People are saying Poch out. People are saying owners out, whatever. Stop it. Just stop it, please. We can't do anything about the ownership. We can't do anything about getting a manager in that's going to do any different than what Poch is doing. Like, if not Poch, who? Nagelsmann's already said no. Who else? Who else? What's the point? Poch derives his team from a solid starting 11 and coaching and bringing people through and getting a system set up. Look at the likes of Man United, Newcastle and Chelsea this season. What do those 3 have in common? They have in common that they've been absolutely plagued with injuries, absolutely ruined with injuries this season. Okay. And they're sat in 6th, 7th and 9th. Maybe instead of always blaming the manager, instead of always blaming the owners, instead of always blaming the players and how they're playing, maybe look at the bigger picture here. Maybe look at the fact that the 3 teams that we expected more of this season in the likes of Man United, Newcastle and Chelsea are all sat in them just above mid-table places, if not mid-table places. I'm not saying that it's the only fault. Poch has made some bad decisions throughout the season. Players have underperformed in certain games when we really should have been winning them. We've been in winning positions and drawn games. We've been in winning positions and lost games. That is down to the manager and the players on the pitch. I'm not saying it isn't. But Nkunku has still only made 2 or 3 appearances, if that. Lavia has played 32 minutes of football. Like, I saw the other day, someone was on Twitter. Again, I don't really follow Chelsea Twitter no more. There was a period where I was like, oh, let's get involved in that. No. It's just a toxic waste tub of crap that people just spout, and it's reactionary bullshit, okay? I saw someone say, we need to go into the market for a defensive midfielder this summer. And I went, are you mad? We signed Moises Caicedo for one of them reasons. But one of the other reasons is we signed Lavia because he is going to be, if not, was already looking like one of the best defensive midfielders, young, up-and-coming defensive midfielders, I should say. He's played 32 minutes. Instead of thinking, let's spend more money on another player, which is one of the criticisms that a lot of football Twitter gave to Chelsea, is just going out and buying too many players, which I agreed with. Why don't you just take a step back and say, okay, we need to be investing in a proper medical team. I think I looked the other week, and there's just a number of medical staff that just haven't necessarily got the experience, the qualifications that they really should do at this level. Like, I think 3 or 4 out of the whole medical team came from non-league football last year. That to me is red flags. Red flags. Just get people in that know what they're doing, alright? Do you know what I'm saying? That is what I want to make as my number 1 point of this video. Chelsea need to be seriously looking into their medical situations this summer. That's what needs to happen. They need to employ people that know exactly what they're talking about. Look at Reece James, for example, reoccurring injuries, and Kunku has been here for 1.5 years now. 1.5 years. He's been a Chelsea player. Yes, only 1 year as being at the club because he was at RB Leipzig for 6 months from that January to July period. And he's only made 3 appearances. What are you doing? Number two, and it's a very key point I make. At the start of the season, I made a very solid argument, as did many others, that this is a stupidly young squad and we need to give them time. We either need to give them time or sprinkle in a bit of experience. Now, my personal opinion, add a bit of experience to it wouldn't go amiss. Thiago Silva's been brilliant at helping the defence. To a degree. We didn't, so we need to allow that flower to bloom, don't we? We've got an inexperienced young team that have, and we have seen it on multiple occasions, bags of ability. So why don't we let that flower bloom? And now we're 8 months down the line, or 9, 10 months down the line, and people are going, it's absolutely outrageous. What we think. It's giving them time, 8 months. No, it's giving them 1 year or 2. There's a reason why these players are on long-term contracts. It's because as a club and as ownership, we have said to them, we are committed to giving you a bit of time. Maybe not all the 6 or 7 years. Maybe 2 or 3. It winds me up how short-sighted people can be. Because it's so evidently argued that people think that 6 months is a long amount of time. If it isn't. It just isn't. Like, take the flip side of that coin and we go and buy experienced players. Man United needed a defensive midfielder. So they went and bought Casemiro, who was good in the first 6 months. I have seen an abundance of Man United fans going out and saying, Casemiro needs to get gone now. He's way past it now. He's not performing to the level he should. We need to bring in someone else. You brought in Amrabat. Another experienced older player. The grass isn't always greener. I would rather us sign younger players like we have done. Give them 1 year or 2 to get good. Give them 1 year or 2 under the same coaching and leadership to understand what they need to do for the team. Bring in a manager like Poch now. Poch's number 1 was to get the squad playing as a squad. And it's what he's done. I see harmony in that squad. I don't see a lot of discontent in that squad, which is an issue that we've faced in the past. And to many other clubs that were in a similar situation to us during like a bit of a rebuild or a bit of a lull period, the discontent was Man United, Arsenal, Tottenham to some degree, all had areas where they were like, oh, your Aubameyangs and fucking your Ronaldos that came back and caused issues and whatever about Rashford at the minute for Man United. So many issues that were caused by individual players. I don't see that at Chelsea. I see a group of players who still know what the main sole aim is and the goal is. And we have to keep that. And if we get rid of another manager, we lose a lot of that there. And that's bad. That's a grenade waiting to go off. Now, the point I was making is that the grass isn't always green. We can't just bring in experienced players, because, like we say, with the Casemiro incident situation, he was good for that initial 6 months, but now he isn't. And now you've got a player on 350k a week. Where's he going to go? For them wages, where's he going to go? When instead, we've got a player like Lavia, who is waiting to get good. I'm not saying he will be. I'm not saying it's guaranteed. I'm not saying anything of the lights. Okay. Yes, we paid a lot of money for him. I'm not saying we didn't. Okay, what's this? No. Okay, so Casemiro. Casemiro, 350k a week. We've signed Lavia, who we want to be good, and I think he will be good, as the same likes of Caicedo and Enzo and anyone else we've brought in. Who's on 45k a week? Like, let me just work this out. So, £350,000 a week times 52. I don't know. It's a tough situation. It's two different situations, to be honest. But we need to understand that it's two different situations. We can't just bring experienced players because they cost more money and they cost more wages. And that's, if we're looking at the way that financial fair play is going, it's going to be a bit different. It's going to be about squad costs. And it's going to be about the overall sort of how it relates to what we can afford. Anyway, going on to my third point, what do we need to do? Where do we improve? And what can be done? Number one, if we just take a look at Chelsea's squad. So we have Petrovic, Bettinelli and Robert Sanchez as goalkeepers. Keep that as it is. I think Petrovic is a great goalkeeper. I think he's really good. I rate him quite highly. Sanchez is also a good goalkeeper, if not a brilliant backup. Whether he wants to stay backup, I don't know. And Bettinelli as a third choice is fine. Let's look at left backs. Chilwell, Mark Cucurella. I like Ben Chilwell. I think he's great. And I think, to be fair to him, Cucurella has been good in Chilwell's absence. Now he's back from injury. If one of them wanted to leave, I would say, okay, off you pop. I would then look to bring in the likes of your Alphonso Davies. I'd go for a big left back. Alphonso Davies, Teo Hernandez, Grimaldo, I think we'll be fighting too much battles for him in the minute. Go for a big left back. Okay, so let's look at left backs that we could potentially be looking at this year. So we want to go position left back. Submit. Yeah, so Lucas Hernandez, Teo Hernandez. I don't think Lucas Hernandez is more of a centre-back, to be honest. Matheus Acunha's 31. Maybe that would work. It'd be okay. Nuno Mendes from PSG. I don't think top level. Ferland Mendy could be good because I don't think he's going to want to stay at Real Madrid much longer if they do sign the likes of an Alphonso Davies. I think there's definite scope for buying someone like a Ferland Mendy. A Dogie from Spurs, not an option. We could look for a Stupinan from Brighton, but it's Brighton, so they're going to gouge our eyes out. I don't think I really want to do business with them anymore. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there for now. The only other person that I could see, and there's a reason for this, I don't know what the situation's going to be like, but João Cancelo, hear me out, is at Man City and he wants to be at Barcelona. However, he's currently on loan. I don't know whether Barcelona are going to be able to make that loan permanent. I don't know if they even have done. If we look at Barcelona are expecting Man City to help out in making it permanent. I don't know whether Man City are going to want to make it easy for them. Nor us, to be honest. I think he's playing a lot of games, 25 matches in the league and 9 in the Champions League. 4 goals in total and 4 assists. Fair dues. I think he's a very experienced left back. I think going forward, he's brilliant. On the ball, he's brilliant. And I've got a feeling that he's someone that Pochettino might look at and go, look, if we can't bring the likes of a Teo Hernandez or an Alphonso Davies or whoever else, a Ferland Mendy, if they're all going to be expensive, why don't we look at someone like that? Fair enough. I think it's a good option to look at just to see if we can help the Man City-Barcelona situation. I don't know. Anyway, that's left back. Centre backs we have Badiashile, Disasi, Chalobah, Colwill, Fofana when he's back. Okay. That's 5. That's 5 centre backs now. Chalobah probably will leave. I didn't mention Thiago Silva because we know he's going. Disasi, Badiashile, or Colwill. Right, Colwill's off the market in my eyes. Badiashile and Disasi we can look for offers for, if as far as I'm concerned. If they don't leave, cool. If they do leave, I'm not really going to hold it against them. It's alright, Malang Sarr's name's here. Absolute bollocks, mate. He's being paid 3 times as much as any other fucking player is at the minute. He needs to get gone. But if we were to look at centre-backs, where would I go? I'd first look at Bayern Munich because I've got a suspicion there's a few Bayern Munich players, specifically, that are questioning things. They haven't won the league. They may do well in the Champions League, I don't know, but they're underperforming. Tuchel's getting gone at the end of the season. And as far as I'm concerned, they've got too many centre-backs. They have Eric Dyer, Upamecano, De Ligt and Kim Min-jae. One of them top 3, because Eric Dyer's not going anywhere now. They only signed him because Harry Kane, do you know what I mean? Kim Min-jae, De Ligt or Upamecano, one of them could go. I'm not sure what price for, it could be quite expensive, but that's the 3 I'd look at. Other than that, I wouldn't really go for any other centre-backs. Moving on. Midfielders, I think our midfield's fine. We have players that are set to come back into the team, you know. If I just go through the list, I mean, right back's spot on, Gusto and Reece James. We don't touch right back. I think Malo Gusto's better than Reece James at the minute. I think he's shown more consistency and I think he's just as good quality-wise. Kill me for saying that, but I believe it. Midfielders, and Alfie Gilchrist in there, he can just float around the back line anyway. Enzo Fernandez, Ogachukwu, Chukwuemeka, Gallagher, we need to re-sign Gallagher. If the club don't do that, that's going to lose a huge part of the fan base. Caicedo, Cassidy, Lavia. Don't touch the midfield. That on top of the fact that we've got Nkunku and Cole Palmer that can play. There's no need. In that attacking role, there's no need. Left wing. Mudryk, Sterling. I'm going to keep it as them for now. Now, Raheem Sterling See you later, mate. I don't see any sort of effort or empathy or willingness or quality from Sterling. I want him gone to Saudi Arabia as soon as possible, as is Kepa, as is Lukaku. Ship them off as quick as possible in the summer, please. Get them gone now. Nkunku set to come back, which is great. Anyway, that does leave a gap in the left-hand side. However, I've got a suspicion that Nicholas Jackson will be pushed out to the left. Every time we've seen Jackson perform really well this season, he's got some good goals. He's linking the play together really well. It's been off that left-hand side. I do prefer Modric. I think he's a bit more effective and he's a bit more direct. And he's better with the ball at his feet. I don't think Jackson should be sold at all. I think he's a great versatile player that can drop into striking positions if needs be. But I think Pochettino floated the idea of him being on the left, and I liked it, and it worked. So Modric, Jackson on the left. Right-hand side, Cole Palmer, Madueke. Again, we've got enough wingers at the club. We've got the likes of Chukwuemeka that can play on that right-hand side anyway. There's many a player that whole front three rotates, and as does the striker, it sort of just intermingles. So I think that's fine. And as a striker, again, we've either got Jackson or Nkunku. Now, if Sterling goes, it leaves Nkunku as a out-and-out striker. He himself has already said it's not really him to be playing as an out-and-out striker. I would like to see Cole Palmer on the right, Nkunku in that middle, and maybe a Mudryk on the left just as a bit of pace, or even Jackson on the left just to link it all together. So we need to go and get an out-and-out striker that can score goals. Number one, off the top of my head, Osimhen. He just makes sense, doesn't he? It's going to be tough, but it works. It's just one of those where he's a fan, he likes the club. We've been linked with him for quite a long time. It makes sense. The club aren't going to want to buy an old striker. They're not going to want to buy a 29-year-old. So, as a 24-year-old, makes sense. He has a release clause, so the club, if the club, the club went ahead and sold £72 million worth of hotels to Blueco, which is their own company, but not registered for the club. So we've generated money. The Premier League actually said it's okay. So for anyone coming at Chelsea for doing that, bollocks to you. Absolute fucking bollocks to you. We were put under a fucking transfer ban and an embargo, and the club owner was forced to sell the club. Fuck it if we want to make money by doing that. The Premier League have been shafting us since Roman Abramovich took over. And people were put under fucking pressure from the government to sell the club. If we've sold the club to a company that can then go ahead and generate £72 million onto the books, fucking go ahead as far as I'm concerned, right? So we're going to pass FFP. If we can generate more money in the likes of Lukaku, Kepa, Sterling, all the Chalobah, Gallagher if he goes, but I don't want him to fucking go. Any other player that wants out, your QQAs and your Chilwells. I'm just going down this list right now. Malang Sarr, who's on an absolute wage, so that gets a lot off the books. Thiago Silva's wages off the books. Any of those that want to go, we can generate quite a heavy amount of money from that. If that goes towards the likes of an Osimhen, happy days. I think we need someone like that. Alternatively, we need to be looking at who isn't Lautaro Martinez. I'd take in a heartbeat. I think it'd work. He's only 25. He might be 26 now, to be fair. Do it. Absolutely do it. I don't want Vlahovic. However, he's been really underperforming. He's 24 years old. I mean, put it into perspective. Juventus have been underperforming. I think Juventus have been absolutely terrible. And they've got a lot of shit going on. He scored 15 goals in 27 matches and he's got 4 assists. He's not bad. But I don't think I want a player like Vlahovic. His value is still £65 million. However, it's dropped from £85 million of 2 years ago. If Juventus need to generate money, I can see it being a good investment of around £50 million. I think that'd be doable. I wouldn't even mind it that much. But we'll have to wait and see. Other players, I'm not really too sure where we go. Here's another one. I've heard Murakoko might be allowed to leave Borussia Dortmund. I've got a lot of faith in this lad. He's only valued at 25 million, but again, it's another young player. He's only in the Champions League. He's made 3 appearances. He's got 3 goals in 17 in the Bundesliga. It's not all that great of a return, if I'm being honest. So maybe not. Just looking through play. Benjamin Sesko from Leipzig. How much is he likely to be leaving for? He's valued at 40 million. 9 goals, 2 assists, 26 appearances. It's okay. It's okay. I mean, and then obviously you've got the likes of Ivan Toney, who's up in the air. I think he might end up at Arsenal, truth be told. Oh, but apparently, Chelsea are already looking at Benjamin Sesko for around 42 million. While the number of competing clubs is far from ideal, the price is just with his release clause being set at just 50 million euros, which is 40 million pounds. So actually, we can secure. So here we go. So I'm going for this. Ivan Toney, I would like at the club. I think he's got bags of ability. I think he fits the team, but I can see him more at Arsenal myself. If we can get Ivan Toney for 40 million or Benjamin Sesko for 42 million, they're my 2 options. I don't want to be spending £100 million. I think we have just a good a player in Sesko and or Toney. The Osimhen brings a similar sort of stature. If we can't get them, and we do need to sign someone, it's going to have to be Osimhen, isn't it? Or, thinking about this, I think Victor Boniface might actually end up at Arsenal quicker. Again, £40 million value. $11 goals, 18 appearances, 9 assists. That says that he brings a lot. But he's going to stay. He's going to stay with Xabi Alonso, to be fair. And I wouldn't be surprised if Xabi Alonso ends up at Liverpool or Real Madrid and brings him along with him, depending on how he is next season. I think signing someone like Boniface is a bit of a jump in at a gun, sort of like we did with Nicholas Jackson, to be fair. I don't think there's many others out there. There's that Victor Gyökeres. He's 25 years old. He's okay. He's got 22 goals in 27 matches and 10 assists. That's actually quite a formidable. That's actually really good. And it's in the Liga NOS, or the Liga Portugal it is now. 5 goals, 2 assists in 9 appearances in the Europa League. 3 goals and 2 appearances in the Allianz Cup. And 6 goals and 5 appearances in the Taça de Portugal. I can see why people want him. And if I'm being totally honest, I think the Portuguese league is a very, how can I put this? It's got very transferable. How can I describe? So the way the Premier League plays in its pace and physicality is very similar to that of the Ligue Portugal, in comparison to us in the Serie A, us in the French league, us in the German league, and us in the Spanish league. I think if there's anything, it goes. In terms of closeness to English football, Liga Portugal and La Liga are the two that are closest. That's not to say that I think someone that's playing for Sporting Lisbon can be the same as a Premier League player. It's not what I'm trying to get at. Victor Gyökeres would be good. I'll be inclined to see who we get, but a striker is definitely needed. But I think he'll go to Liverpool if Amorim goes. Yeah, that makes sense. And also, there is a good maybe 3 or 4 clubs in the Premier League that are looking at strikers. There is sort of the first time in a very long time a market for maybe 5 or 6 strikers. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. They're my 3 things. Chelsea, give them a bit more time, please. Stop jumping at the gun. Number 2, I can't remember what I said for number 2, but don't just go and sign players for the sake of signing players. Actually look at it and buy people that now fit what the club wants and what the club needs. And number 3, they're the sort of players I'd sign: a left back, a centre back, and probably a striker. Hope you guys have enjoyed this, and I'll catch you later. Goodbye.